Hello guys, my name is Zach and welcome to the day 152 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. We only have 5 games to talk about today, so without further delay, let the day 152 recap begin. The last time these two teams faced off, LeBron James wound up hitting one of the most improbable shots that I have ever seen in my life to give the Cavaliers the win over Washington in a game that will be in contention for one of the best regular season games this year. And last night, it wasn't a bad game, just not as thrilling as their previous meeting. LeBron James sporting goggles for his eyes after sustaining a scratch on the surface of his eye in the game versus the Hornets on Friday night. Didn't last too long though, as he threw them off in frustration in the first quarter. A first quarter which saw Washington drop 40 points on the Cavs. They hit 18 of their 22 shots that quarter. Absolutely no type of defense was played by Cleveland, and that quarter would propel the Wizards to the 127-115 win over the Cavaliers. John Wall was huge in that first quarter as he scored 18 points on perfect 8 of 8 shooting from the field, as he finished with 37 points and 11 assists, while Beal had 27 and Oubre had 16 off the bench. And after throwing off his goggles, LeBron James was back to his usual self, finishing with 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, while Kyrie Irving had 23. And with this loss, the Cavs' lead for the number 1 seed in the East is trimmed to only a half game over Boston. The Clippers were at home playing host to the Utah Jazz in a matinee game yesterday, and sometimes playing early games like this can really throw a team off. It definitely appeared to be that way for Utah in the first quarter, as they only managed to score 14 points compared to the Clippers' 28. The Clippers kept that lead all the way up until the third quarter and ballooned as high as 16. And then the Jazz started to make a comeback. Jamal Crawford and Chris Paul both got teed up, and it seemed like this was about to be a comeback win for Utah. But Jamal Crawford wasn't having it. The guy can still get ridiculously hot out of nowhere, as he dropped 17 of his 28 points in the fourth quarter to give the Clippers the 108-95 win. For the Jazz though, is Rudy Gobert, who once again shows the progress that he has made on the offensive end this season, as he scored 26 points and grabbed 14 rebounds. And this was actually a very important game too, as it seems that this will be the 4v5 first round matchup in the West. And with the win, the Clippers are only a half game out from having home court advantage in that matchup. It's amazing how much of a difference one player can make to a team. Not even, like an all-star caliber player, well, yet at least, but just a really good and solid player. Since acquiring Jusuf Nurkic, the Blazers have been a completely different team. With a 112-100 victory over the Wolves last night, they have now won 7 of their past 10 games, and are still just 1 game behind the Nuggets for the 8th seed in the Western Conference. In their last game, it was Damian Lillard who led them in scoring, and this time, it was CJ McCollum's turn. McCollum simply couldn't miss yesterday, connecting on 11 of his 13 field goal attempts to score 32 points, while Damian Lillard had 21 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals. And for the Wolves, they looked really tired and sluggish last night though, having just played in the overtime game versus the Lakers the night before. Andrew Wiggins still scored 20 for them. The first time these two teams played this season, the Knicks had shocked the world by beating the Spurs. This time though, San Antonio came out of the gate trying to crush all hope that the short-handed Knicks had of defeating them, as they jumped out to an early 10-point lead after the first quarter. And that lead became 18 going into the half, but then the Knicks showed us that this really is a game of 2 halves, as they stormed back in the third quarter to cut the Spurs lead down to 4 headed into the fourth. But the Spurs never crack under pressure. They composed themselves in the final period to get the 106-98 win, led by Kawhi Leonard and his 29 points, while Aldridge had 19 points and 10 rebounds. Derrick Rose and Hernan Gomez both had 24 for the Knicks. Hernan Gomez also grabbed 13 rebounds, as the Knicks were once again without Carmelo Anthony. The Raptors took their 4-game winning streak on the road against the Mavericks last night. With a win, they could clinch a playoff berth in the Eastern Conference. And they really have to keep winning even without Kyle Lowry if they want to get rid of that 1-game lead the Wizards have over them for their 3rd seed in the East. And they did win last night, 94-86 over the Dallas Mavericks. It wasn't the best game for DeRozan, but both he and Ibaka did what was necessary in order to get that win, each of them scoring 18 points. Ibaka also had 8 rebounds, and DeRozan continues to be a playmaker as well in Lowry's absence with 6 assists. Harrison Barnes was the high man for Dallas with 23 points and 7 rebounds. And that about wraps up all the action for the day 152 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season, and now it's time to get into the player of the day. Yesterday's poll received a total of over 2,100 votes, and the winner receiving over 1,700 votes for player of the day was Devin Booker, who I made an exception for yesterday in his 70 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And here are today's nominees. You have John Wall and his 37 points and 11 assists, Kawhi Leonard and his 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, Damian Lillard and his 21 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals, Jamal Crawford and his 28 points including 17 in the fourth quarter, or CJ McCollum and his 32 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. You guys can go vote for the player of the day by following the straw poll link in the description. That will be the new permanent place for these polls since I get much more interaction on them versus Twitter. And that's everything for yesterday. Now let's take a preview of what's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's games include the Phoenix Suns versus Charlotte Hornets, the Brooklyn Nets versus the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings versus the Los Angeles Clippers, the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Houston Rockets, the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Indiana Pacers, the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics, the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors, the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Denver Nuggets, and the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And that about wraps up the day 152 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NBA videos. Until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!